Hey guys, welcome back to Master Game Studios. I'm Craig, and today we're doing a video we haven't done in a month or so. That is the best list of the month, and today mainly we were focusing on LVO because that was a very big competitive tournament. There were a lot of nice Tyranid lists that came out of that. Of course, none of them won the event because that was Death Watch, but still some awesome lists for us to look at. So we're going to dive into each of those today. If that sounds good, do like and subscribe to stay updated on all of our content here at Master Game Studios. Now that we're back in the swing of the year, you'll be seeing one of these best lists of the month every month, and plenty of other Tyranid battle reports, tactics, and things like that. And of course, I want to thank all of you awesome members. There's been a ton of you guys who have joined lately, so thank you to you guys for deciding to join. We really appreciate it. It allows us to keep doing what we're doing. And now with all that, let's dive into today's list. Before we dive into today's list, just a quick note from the sponsor for today's video, me and my Etsy shop. I just want to say this quickly. I mentioned in last week's video that the Venomthrope torsos are about to be ready. Here they are. I mean, you've already seen them once, but again, if you want to see a 360, this is 3D printed torso and tail bit with the plastic tentacles and head. These are now available in the Etsy shop for all of you. US based right now. I am working to get international shipping. I think I've got it figured out. Just give me another week or so and everything will be available internationally. So just quick shout out here. Now available at the Etsy shop. Link down below. Thank you guys. That really helped me a lot when you guys order from there. So now onto the list. So we're going to start with the first list. Again, all of these lists except for the bonus one at the end were from LVO. So all of them did pretty dang well. And we have, I think we have one from every detachment except Unending Swarm again because GW absolutely mangled that detachment. So first off, in Vanguard Onslaught, we have Nathaniel Bjorge, I don't know, 19th at LVO. Congratulations. That is a great spot. For those of you who don't know, there's probably 1,000 to 1,200 players competing in LVO. So getting 19th is a huge success there. He came 5-1. He played against Dark Angels, Death Guard, Imperial Guard, Necrons, Imperial Guard again, and Death Watch was his loss. And if I'm not mistaken, this Death Watch list was the one who won LVO. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was. His list is pretty typical, but there's a little bit of spice in later on, why I really wanted to cover it. So he had Death Leaper, great. Winged Hive Tyrant with Chameleonic, awesome. 3 Broodlords and a Neuro Tyrant with Hunting Grounds. In the rest of the list, of course, he had 3 groups of 10 Gene Stealers to accompany those Broodlords. He had 2 individual Lictors and 2 individual Neuro Lictors. The part I really like was 2 units of Raveners, 2 units of 6 of them with bioweapons. So interesting, I guess he's probably using them to clear chaff and things like that. I personally prefer having the save over the bioweapons, but clearly he has shown that the bioweapons can do work, and I'm guessing with all the potential +1 to wounds and stuff from Vanguard Onslaught, maybe that it works out pretty well for him. And then he had a unit of 3 Raveners. These guys are clearly probably just there for secondary purposes. He had a Screamer Killer, so fantastic to see that there. The Screamer Killer has made a reappearance in a pretty competitive tournament list. Really, it's used there for that extra battle shock, which triggers the Neurolictors and all the other Vanguard Onslaught strats to just amp up the damage. And finally, 3 Von Ryan Leapers to do a little bit of infiltrating, skirmishing, and things like that. So congratulations again, Nathaniel, on your 19th place at LVO with the Vanguard Onslaught. The next list we're going to cover is a Synaptic Nexus list, and this is Ruben Garby. He got 100th at LVO, so congratulations, making the top 100. He also went 5-1. He played Blood Angels, Sisters of Battle, which he lost to, Necrons, Deathwatch, Drukhari, and Black Templars. Now, I think, I could be wrong, but I think this list we have seen before on this best list series. I think it's the same player, same list and everything. So his list was a awesome Synaptic Nexus, double Hive Tyrant, lots of Tyrant Guard, very fun to play as. So he had the Hive Tyrant, as we say, with Synaptic Control. He had a Neuro Tyrant with Power of the Hive Mind to amp up that Flamer. And of course, he had Swarm Lord. In the battle line, he had one block of 20 Termagants. These things are there just to kind of sit, I'm assuming, on a flank objective and be annoyingly difficult to deal with because there's going to be so much else in his face. You really don't have the firepower to deal with 20 Termagants. In the rest of the list, he has a Biovore, an Exocrine for some shooting, 2 Lictors for secondary purposes, a Psychophage for that Feel No Pain, which will go a long way with the rest of the units, 2 Rupture Cannon Tyrannofexes, big anti-tank, and 3 units of 6 Tyrant Guard, like I said. He had a different weapon for each. I don't know which way he played or why he did which. I'm assuming the ones with the Crushing Claws went with the Neuro Tyrant to get that +1 hit, so now they're hitting on 3s again. But other than that, why he did which one he did, I don't know. Maybe it's the way they were modeled. But all in all, Synaptic Nexus, if you saw my Tyrant Guard video not too long ago, is a great detachment for this many Tyrant Guard. They love the Invuln save that you can give them. They love the Armor of Contempt, which you can give them since they will be attached to a Tyrant unit. The extra move and the extra hitting is all fun stuff there. So really good list. Love to see it. Congratulations again at your top 100 there. And let's move on to the next list. In Invasion Fleet, Kobe Walters from Vanguard Tactics comes in at 125th. He went 4-2. His opponents were Grey Knights, Chaos Space Marine again, Chaos Knights, World Eaters, which he lost to, and then Orcs, which he lost to again. He also lost to. Characters, just a Neuro Tyrant. No Hive Tyrant, quite interesting to see in an Invasion Fleet list, but nonetheless, he got it to work to an extent. So just a Neuro Tyrant, no battle line either, and he is bringing just a crazy amount of monsters. So he's got a Biovore, 3 Exocrines, 2 Maliceptors, 2 individual Lictors, 2 individual Pyrovores for popping on strategic reserves, turning off cover to certain units that the rest of these big monsters can lay down fire support on. 1 unit of 2 Pyrovores, I'm guessing they're just walking up the board, doing the exact same thing, turning off cover for the high firepower that's coming down range. He had 2 units of Ravners. These are going to be a secondary voice popping up and down. 2 Screamer Killers. Really interesting to see the Screamer Killers in this list. They don't get a ton of benefits in Invasion Fleet. They can have the sustained or they can have the lethal and the strats to help boost that, but that's about it. So it is cool to see them. I'm glad he got them to work to some extent, but yeah, so 2 Screamer Killers there. And of course, 2 Rupture Cannons, Tyrannofexes with Rupture Cannons. So really, this list boils down to a crap ton of big, fairly durable monsters that are just being shoved into the midboard. You're going to have to deal with them, and they're going to be blasting you to pieces while you do it. And then you've got all of the chaff units to score your secondaries, benefit the big monsters, and do things like that. So awesome list. We've seen things like this, but I don't think we've ever seen one with the Screamers in there in change of a Hive Tyrant. So congratulations on your great performance, 125th. And let's go into Crusher Stampede here. So Michael Georges, he got 43rd at LVO. He went 5-1 with his Crusher Stampede. He played Orcs, Blood Angels, Chaos Demons, Gene Stealer Cult, Blood Angels again, lost to them unfortunately, and Thousand Suns. His list, pretty cool one here. So he's got the Swarm Lord and a Hive Tyrant with Ominous Presence. That gives him extra OC, probably just, you have the point, so you throw it on there for OC 6, potentially 8 Hive Tyrant, and then a Neuro Tyrant. No battle line. The rest of the list is a Biovore, 2 Exocrines, a Harusvex, 2 Lictors for doing secondaries and things, a Norn Emissary to slap down in the middle, I presume, and just hold the objective as long as possible, 2 Rupture Cannon Tyrannofexes, and a unit of 6 Zoanthropes to go with that Neuro Tyrant. So all in all, again, it's a style where you're throwing big monsters into the middle. Now, you don't have as much melee presence. It's going to be the Swarm Lord, the Hive Tyrant, the Harusvex, and then I guess the Norn are all going to be the things that push onto the center objectives, while the Exocrines and the Rupture Cannon Tyrannofexes, and then the Zoanthropes are providing that fire support. Zoanthropes are an interesting include. We have seen these a couple times pop up in successful Crusher Stampede lists. They are just generally a good firepower unit. Personally, for me, I'm not a big fan of them, but with the way the keywords work in Crusher Stampede, them being attached to a monster, there are a few benefits that you can have being a Zoanthrope squad, but also it's some variety in firepower. Maybe bring them on from Strategic Reserve, some little extra mobility, and you know, they seem to work well for them. So great on your 43rd overall result, Michael. Congratulations. And let's go into the next list. And the final list from LVO is Matt Evans. He got 16th at LVO. He went 5-1-1. So I believe he lost in the shadow round. He went 5-0-1 in the main event, and then lost in the shadow round is where that last one came from. I think he played Necrons, Imperial Agents, Imperial Knights, Chaos Demons, Death Guard was his tie, Space Marines again, and lost to them. His list, you guys know it. I love this kind of list. He's got a Hive Tyrant with Instinctive Defense. He's got a Neuro Tyrant with Biophagic Flow, and the Swarm Lord. The rest of it, pretty similar to things we've seen with a few changes in here. We've got a Biovore, a Harsphex. Now they're a bit better in Assimilation Swarm. Got a Lictor, 2 units of 3 Pyrovores, so he's really going in on the big chunky flamer guys. An individual Pyro, maybe it's strategic reserving, maybe it's just walking up the board. But there, just 1 Psychophage for that 6-up Feeling of Pain. 3 individual Ripper Swarms for, again, those little tiny heal bubbles. 1 unit of 6 Raveners. 1 unit of 3 Venomthropes. And 2 units of 6 Tyrant Guard with Scything Talons. Obviously, the Tyrant Guard are going to be joining the Hive Tyrant and the Swarm Lord. There's also a unit of 6 Zoanthropes in this list. I realize those are missing here at the bottom, but I'll make sure you guys see them, so no changes here. It is an interesting list. He changed out no Exocrines and no Tyrannofexes. His only real ranged output is that unit of Zoanthropes, and they're great. They do give a 6-up Invone to the Tyrant Guard, and then you've got the Venomthropes that also have the cover given to the Tyrant Guard. And then you've, of course, got the Psychophage for the Feel No Pain for the Tyrant Guard. Meanwhile, plenty of heals to go around the board. You are not shy on heals at all. The biggest thing I've been seeing now, or I see with this list along with some others, another unit of 6 Raveners. At 150 points, these guys are fast. They can really clear up chaff infantry. You can put them back in reserve and then pop back up and do some secondaries if you need to. A great utility unit, and again, in Assimilation Swarm, you can just bring 1 model back at a time with the healing. So it is an interesting list, similar to ones that I've created and we've seen, but he's obviously made his flavor of Assimilation Swarm work, and I'm interested now in trying Raveners in the list over some other things. It's got my brain thinking a little bit. But yes, congratulations to you, Matt, on your awesome performance at LVO. This was the top placing Tyranid list if you guys hadn't calculated it out yourself. Didn't quite make it to the finals, but all in all, excellent performance. Way to show the Hive Mind still has some chew in this meta right now. And now we have a bonus list for you guys. Originally, I thought about doing a separate video on this list, but we've got videos scheduled and this one isn't as important, so I figured I'd just throw it in here as a bonus list. And this is a Warrior Bioform Onslaught list that I created. It went 3-0 at an RTT, and I used it on a live stream against Matt, and we won that game. You can see it is the Blood Angels versus Tyranids, the most recent live stream from January. So the list is a Hive Tyrant, no upgrades, just a walking Hive Tyrant, 3 Winged Primes, 1 with Sensory Assimilation, and 1 with Ocular Adaptation, that is +1 to hit and at all times, and -1 to hit at all times. The battle line, 4 units of 6 melee warriors, 1 unit of 6 ranged warriors, and 1 unit of 3 ranged warriors. The rest of the list is a Biovore, 2 Exocrines, a Lictor, a Neurolictor, a unit of 3 Venomthropes, and a Rupture Cannon Tyrannofex. Now, I did go technically 4-0 with this list, and that's all I've played is just the 4 games with it. I would make a quick tweak to this. I would give the remaining Winged Prime the Advance in Charge enhancement, and I would downgrade that Neural Lictor to a regular Lictor. My thought being that the Neural Lictor could Battle Shock, or if I Battle Shock something, the Neural Lictor would then give the warriors +1 to wound, and then that really cranks them up to 11 against any target. It just never really happened, so it is what it is. But everything I learned is that this list is not unstoppable. There's plenty of ways to stop it. Votann are a great army to deal with it. They have the right kind of fire. Any heavy shooting that has just a ton of middle strength, middle damage guns are going to chew through this stuff. We didn't. Our opponents didn't have enough, but it seems like with 4 blocks of melee warriors, and each one of them can do a huge amount of damage and a good amount of durability, then you've got, I mean, you send the first one in, you send the second one in, and then you've got a third one, and typically that's what most people have. But then it's turn 4, and you're like, all right, I still have another unit to go toe-to-toe in the center. They hit hard. They're decently durable in the list now, and they're fun. It is a big footprint, so you have to plan wisely. But yeah, I just wanted to throw this list in here. I had a lot of fun with it. Maybe I'll try it out at a bigger tournament at some point, but I know it's not unstoppable just with 4 games. I can see weaknesses in it, but it is a lot of fun to play as. So that is it. Those are all of the lists. We have one from every detachment except Unending Swarm. Let me know what you guys think about all these. If any of you were a player in one of these lists at LVO and you wanted to add a little bit of color commentary to it, put it down in the comments for us to understand a little bit more. I don't interview all of the players here. I just don't have the time, or it's not feasible to get in contact with everyone. So if you have your own commentary, feel free to add it. Hopefully I did a decent job of just talking about the list. But all in all, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, members, and we'll see you next time here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios.